flexible firms manage distress risk when there is persistent level of uncertainty, especially some kind of the exogenous shocks like pandemic, which arrive, but they might leave a long-lasting impact on the business and the society. Right. So that is the theme I have chosen, although it's based upon my own research with my PhD student and plus a theme that I have followed for a long time. And so what is it about? So let me give you a small overview because this is a kind of 15 minutes presentation. I will not go to all the methodological and other details, but I will try to present the main theme of this research and the key takeaways. At least I will try to limit myself within 15 minutes. So, as many of the speakers, and including many presenters in different sessions, they have spoken about the impact of the pandemic on socio-economic and financial lives, especially on the businesses, in particular on the small businesses, right? So it has created undoubtedly an unprecedented level of uncertainty and chaos, and which have actually forced a kind of very complex nonlinear relationship among social and economic agents, right? And in this context, many developed and developing country policymakers are actually pitching for what we call, they're calling for a lot of resilience and the impact of innovation or the strategy for innovation so that we can all wade through what I call the muddy waters of uncertainty. So in this context, I raise two specific questions. First of all, think about the small firms or big firms in an industry who are in a developing or developed country. So to what extent, say, this financial flexibility can actually help the firms manage distress risk, such as the one in pandemic. So that's why my question is, do financially flexible firms, read it like resilient, better manage distress risk? Second, does an agent, in this case, a kind of CEO of a firm who manages this type of risk, and their national culture, does it play a kind of mediating role in managing the distress risk in terms of, in the face of the pandemic? But this relationship between this financial flexibility of a firm and distress risk in the presence of a heightened uncertainty, it's a kind of what I call humorously a complicated love story. But especially in my research, I will show you that we can find certain directions if we can make an inclusive theorization and of course a sophisticated model building. I am not going to present all those big things here. It's not the time. It needs a proper research presentation for that. But I will give you an overview of what I have found here. So what I really mean by financial flexibility. So simply speaking, flexibility is like the to stretch an agent's ability, like an elasticity, but how much can you stretch? During the pandemic, what I have experienced most of the, like in an academic institution, we are really financially constrained, and what we are asking that you get the same salary, sometimes take a pay cut, but you work more, right? So try to stretch yourself. So we are championing for the role of more resilience, more elasticity. But although we know human mind has infinite capacity, but during our lifetime, given socioeconomic and other different constraints, we hardly have any elasticity to stretch ourselves to infinity, right? So there is certain limit within our complicated boundary of rational thinking. So flexibility, that is how we can stretch an agent's ability. In this case, for instance, how far a firm, a financial firm, can be financially flexible and to what extent? I will discuss about that. And when we speak about distress, it is the difficulties faced by an agent that can meet some expected obligations in the face of uncertainty. But both of these things, flexibility and distress risk, they work under a kind of uncertainty that is persistent and a chaos in the socio-economic and financial orders. So firms like in general, the agents, they can actually really face a very difficult choice problems. Like Shikta, a while ago, you were mentioning about from spells, this predicting the unpredictable. So predicting the seemingly unpredictable. And that is why we have to make a choice between rationality and intuition. A firm makes a choice. So a firm CEOs, the directors, the managers, they make a choice about their financial wealth. And so what type of role the CEOs can have in terms of rationality and intuition to wade through this muddy water of uncertainty can be a very big issue. I will discuss something about that. So what I foresee here, it's a kind of the instrumental role of the national culture of the CEO of a business or of a firm that plays actually a dominant role. So the national culture, and I will show you in my essay, they actually have the ability to withstand shocks, exogenous shocks, and can still manage to innovate. And so that is why it depends a lot on our inbuilt cultural system, right? So when I speak about flexibility, think about a very funny example here that it was, I got it from the Bush election time when he was championing that, okay, this is my last election and this is how much I can be flexible. Then after my election, so this is what I am coming into and I have more flexibility. You see that detail. So flexibility, how much can you really stretch yourself? So when you begin the narrative, it begins with this one with the public option. Then when they did the tax cuts, you become flexible that way. By have more flexibility, detail. So this is about the flexibility. But when you talk about the distress risk, it's a psychological thing, but forms of distress can be measured quantitatively. So when you are under distress, you cannot innovate. Like such as in the pandemic, you have lot of information asymmetry. You do not know when this pandemic is going to end, what type of strategies government will adopt, and the impact of the pandemic has reached at the every core of our living, whether this is in the business or individual well-being, everywhere. We can feel the pinch, right? So there is a kind of specific theoretical linkage between what we call the distress risk and flexibility. So think about the pressure and performance. It's a simple quadratic inverted U-shaped curve. So whenever you have low pressure in terms of performance, yes, of course you can have the high performance. But in this type of stage here, you can have boredom with low pressure. But in contrast, when the pressure is really high, so with a high stress and then the anxiety and unhappiness. So although this is a kind of psychological narrative, but that can translate easily to the financial flexibility and distress risk, because under the highly distressed firms, and we can say they have a very quick market exit because they cannot survive with required level of innovation, right? And this is where we can have medium pressure and the best performance. Okay, so this I will try to translate into my theory. So when I define financial flexibility, it is actually defined as the ability of a firm that has access and an ability of firm to access and restructure is financing at a very, very low cost. So those firms which are financially flexible, they can actually avoid in the great extent of financial distress in the face of negative shocks such as pandemic. And they can also readily fund investment when they can sniff the profitable opportunities in the economy. So that is what we call the financial flexibility. So the ability of a fund to access and restructure its financing at a very low cost, right? What I find from the literature that the most important driver of any firm's capital structure decision is to the desire to attain and preserve the financial flexibility. But how we achieve financial flexibility, this is a kind of theme that is considered as a part of the broader risk management strategies of firms. What this financial flexibility does, that it can help firms to avoid both indirect and direct costs of financial distress that may arise in the presence of pandemic or any other exogenous shocks. Also, they can provide firms with the ability to avail resources for investment. And this second point that I mentioned about, that can be interpreted as the firms who can help to avoid the opportunity cost of financial distress, right? So recent research shows that actually the value of financial flexibility, whether they firms are during a persistent period of persistent uncertainty or within a stable time, they have normally, given other things constant, an asymmetric relationship with the firm's distress risk. So I used a sample of 8,224 non-financial US firms between 1978 and 2021, along with my PhD students. And I found that in general, that to mitigate the possible risks of failure during, say, for example, this heightened uncertainty, firms with a higher need of financial flexibility can implement conservative financial policies in the next period. So what I find in general, that the firms who are really high in terms of financial flexibility, they actually suffer very, very much less from the probability of distress risk. And the main mechanism that I have found that they can actually reduce their leverage, especially the short-term this. And here in this case, how they minimize on the short-term debts, or how they actually minimize or reduce the leverage decision, make the leverage decision, that depends a lot on the CEO's cultural traits, especially the national culture, which type of culture they come from. There is an ongoing research on how a CEO's national culture can play dominant role in the decision effectiveness, right? So some say a CEO that is who is of Eastern origin, because of the way we have been trained within our philosophical or cultural values, so we might have a better tenacity. Sometimes we have that there is a big research that shows that CEOs from Eastern heritage, they are less risk prone. So they try to be less risk averse in contrast to the Western countries CEOs. Right. So whenever we are talking about a business survival in the face of chaos and complexity, so it is very important that what type of decision effectiveness we have. So in this case, the two things come up. One is the rationality, one is the intuition. Rationality involves whenever we want to take a decision in the face of a available set of information that I have. So I have the required set of information. Using this, I try to make certain decisions. But intuition requires a very deeply embedded thinking. Of course, if the very foundation of rationality, a part of it, a hidden part of it, is of course the intuition. But normally the people coming from the Eastern heritage, so CEOs, they try to bank a lot on the intuition. My intuition says that we will survive the pandemic. These are the small opportunities that is coming my way. Although the available information I have at the moment, it says otherwise, that I cannot make a kind of very good profit out of this business. But my intuition can play a very good role. Think about when Elon Musk started his business. At that point of time, everybody, even a couple of years ago, one of the top CEOs commented that Elon Musk, this electric car and all these things, this is going to Tesla, this is going to fail. But he had a hunch. He could never forecast that this is going to be the world that he will be living in, and he will be the world's richest person. He could not foresee that, but he had an intuition. So that is why you need both. It's a kind of interplay of intuition and rationality. So that's why this managerial quality, especially the way they take decision in the face of uncertainty, it is extremely important. So riskier firms can selectively employ superior managers with this type of ability who can deal with uncertain and complex environments of firms. A simple puzzle that arises here, that should firms in the face of uncertainty accumulate more cash for an unforeseeable future, or use cash actually to minimize on the leverage to save more debt capacity. So this can be understood from the perspective of financial flexibility. Especially, we have found that riskier firms actually tend to gain more resources, accumulate more resources as a precautionary motive. But when there is greater level of uncertainty about the future, what is going to happen about the future of financing, then those firms which are financially constrained, they can have even incentive to borrow as much as possible and actually save the proceeds as cash holdings, because cash is not a negative debt, right? So an enhanced financial flexibility because of the higher level of unused debt capacity can actually mitigate or minimize the extent of bankruptcy. However, the literature also shows that bankruptcy and leverage relationship can be non-linear. That means higher bankruptcy can be found at both low and high leverage levels. Now, as I mentioned about that, I used this non-financial US firms from 78 to 2021. So using different types of sophisticated methodology and a lot of theorization, I don't want to present it here, but what I have found, I am trying to present here the main results. What I find here that firms with a higher value of financial flexibility, they actually suffer less from financial distress risk. And this is a kind of result which I find very much consistent with the idea that firms with higher value of financial flexibility, they actually adapt more conservative financial policies in the face of a higher uncertainty like pandemic. But this type of impact is actually stronger for firms with lower credit quality. The second one I find is the firms with higher rigidity, they also have lower risk of failure. And third one, the CDS reference firms have a higher default risk, but actually the firms with CDS traded on their debt tend to adopt more conservative financial policies. And finally, the higher managerial quality, as I mentioned about, that can actually lead to lower credit risk. So this result is particularly important because it stems out from another research of mine with a PhD student. This is where I discuss a lot about the decision effectiveness of a CEO of a firm in the face of uncertainty, who is trying to make a decision based upon the rationality and intuition. And depending upon the national culture of the CEO and how they wade through this muddy water of uncertainty, that depends upon the managerial quality and the risk propensity of the CEOs. So here are some of the implications for further research. And I can find here that implications for precautionary motive, when the firms are subject to higher level of stress, this higher level of value of financial flexibility may actually yield smaller amount of impact. As I mentioned, the quality of the manager in terms of the decision effectiveness is extremely important, and they can manage both risk propensities, the tendency to take risk, and of course, the extent of the debt structure, which is extremely important in the face of heightened uncertainty. And this is where the interplay of rationality and intuition comes to the fore. So rational decisions are at stake. Whatever information that you have in front of you, available information, those might not be optimal enough. So you might have to bank upon your intuition to take some kind of strategic decision for the future. So that is why intuition is extremely useful. We of course need much more intensive research on the exact nature of the CEO's culture, national culture, how the national culture actually make an impact on the decision effectiveness, can force an individual or can motivate an individual to take a rational decision or to bank more upon the intuition. Right. So this is one of so thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you all. I hope I finished within 15 minutes, Shikta. I have not noticed much of the time. Is it okay?
Absolutely, sir. It's always great learning from your research outputs and outcomes.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Say that the way your humility, that is where it stands out all. Thank you so much, sir. for sharing your wisdom with all of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would request our director, sir, to hand over a certificate of plantation, sir, for your valuable contribution. You have been really kind and immensely have helped us out in terms of making this conference a success. So we have planted a tree.
Ah, wow. This, I love it. Love it. This is the best gift I have ever had. So when I go to Kit, I will certainly do this one. I will also plant several such trees in the name of all the people. So it's such a lovely gesture, planting a tree or planting a life. So this is a really, really lovely gesture. I really thank you. I'm really grateful to you all. Wow, wow, wow. That's so great.
I would request our director, sir, to hand over. Sir, please.
Oh, wow, wow. So, Sikta, if 15 minutes can do this, so I can do probably 1 hour, isn't it? No, I'm just joking. I'm always in a humorous mood. So thank you so very much. I'm really grateful to you.
For your valuable contribution. As a recognition, we have contributed towards planting a tree at your premises.
Thank you so much. Sikta, can you please send me also a photo of the tree plant, because I want to share this tree in my university and everywhere, because this is a really thoughtful one, because
Yes.
encouraging people to plant more trees. So that is something I'm going to do more and more about that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Brajavallabh Babu, Abhishek Babu, Avinash Babu, so many thanks, so much of thanks to you all. I hope I did not bore you with my theorization and things. So I thought that this was the proper context to talk about financial flexibility. We are in the presence of chaos, complexity. We are always talking about how much flexible we can be, and how this distress, although this is regarding the financial one, but it applies everywhere to our economic, social, and normal life.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Professor Subodhi, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
We are really privileged to have with us Dr. Justin Paul, who has joined us right now. Welcome you, sir. Professor Dr. Justin Paul is a professor in the University of Reading, UK, and the University of Puerto Rico, USA. He is also the chief editor of the International Journal of Consumer Studies. Previously, Professor Paul served as a faculty member with Rollins College, the University of Washington, and Nagoya University of Commerce and Business in Japan. He is known as proponent of mass stage theory and measure for the brand management conservative, predictable, and the pacemaker, which is the CPP model of internationalization of the firms. Along with that, he has also worked on the 7P framework for international marketing and scope framework for the success of small firms. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and giving your consent to join us virtually for this International Conference of Management Research on the theme, Chaos, Complexity, and Resilience in the Pandemic Times. Over to you, sir. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sikha, for the introduction. And let me take this opportunity to thank the organizers and congratulate the organizers for this interesting, insightful, and wonderful conference on a very contemporary topic. We all know it's a very early morning for me because I'm on American time. So I just woke up and getting ready with your seminar speech. And I'm sure everything is normal in India now, and abnormal time is almost over, and abnormal time is already over in Western countries, because if there was COVID, Russia will not fight Ukraine, right? So that means COVID is no longer a problem. So as far as prime ministers and presidents are concerned, they are already not wearing masks. No prime minister and no president is wearing mask anywhere in the world. So COVID is no longer a problem. So 2 years, tough time of 2 years, social distancing time is over. People are celebrating these days and people are fighting these days. And so that means no more COVID. So we have to, however, COVID pandemic has brought in a lot of challenges and problems for each one of us in different ways. And this is in different permutations and combinations. If this, we need to be seen in different forms and different ways of looking at it. And I would say that we all have to learn with it, and we have to also manage it. And how do we manage? This is what educational institutions and professors and researchers and students and academic community members need to understand, how to leverage the opportunities arising out of the challenges. There are challenges. America was suffering a lot because of COVID, and it even has had impact on the America's global dominance. And we also recall what happened to India almost a year ago. I mean, so COVID was a serious problem. So it was like almost like 3 to 6 months, everything was in very bad shape. So people didn't know what to do, and everybody was panicked, and this panic situation created problems everywhere. So I really like your conference topic, and this conference, I'm sure, resulting into a lot of brainstorming discussion on how do we organizations manage, overcome, and manage and overcome the challenges and create new opportunities. New opportunities need to be created for organizations. Suppose if I'm an entrepreneur, if I'm running a business enterprise, I need to know how to survive this difficult stage. And many of them didn't survive. Many of them did not survive in America too. Millions of American citizens applied for unemployment benefits. Fortunately, people living in America, they were all paid some economic benefit or economic relief package by the American government. So in proportion to the income of people living in America, whether somebody who has a job, somebody who is paying income tax in America, they all got $800 to $3,000 relief package. So Indian government did not have money to pay to the Indian citizens or people in India to get relief from the COVID-19, but American government was kind enough to do that. And however, many American enterprises collapsed. Many people lost their jobs, and same situation in Europe. I know in Europe, at least 3 people I know in Europe. I've been visiting professors in different European universities, including Denmark, UK, and France. And last 10 years I've been going there, and I have a good number of contacts in European universities, and I gather information that many of them, some of their relatives, some of their friends, they all lost their jobs because of COVID-19. Those who did not have a very permanent job, they lost their job because of COVID-19. Those who were working in sensitive industries, those who were working in labor-intensive industries, those who were working in hard-hit industries like tourism and hospitality, they all lost their jobs. So this is all reality. And I do have a set of PowerPoint slide to share with you to share some of my thoughts. And let me try if sharing screen works. Okay. So we all do research, and these days I spend a lot of my time to serve as editor-in-chief of International Journal of Consumer Studies, and I've been doing a lot of research. And nowadays, people are doing a lot of research on COVID-19 and its impact on different industries, its impact and on different countries. And a lot of research is like I handle about 2,000 submissions a year. It's actually a major part of my job. I spend only 5 hours as a professor and 50 hours as editor. So when I spend my time as editor, I get hundreds of papers written and developed in the COVID context these days. It's very interesting to see COVID context papers, research papers in different area, marketing, human resource management, international business, and it's all interesting and to see that many people are undertaking research on contemporary topics, and some of them getting a lot of downloads and citations in that area. And I have been also spending time, like last year, I spent some time to add 1 or 2 chapters in my popular book on business environment, which is actually India's best-selling book on business environment and economic environment subject area, published by McGraw-Hill. And COVID has actually changed. I was thinking that I should change the entire context of the book, because in the post-COVID era, in the post-pandemic era, the way we all do business, the way we did business has actually changed completely. And for example, we were all doing business on brick and mortar basis. Brick and mortar means traditional business model. However, because of COVID-19, companies cannot survive unless and until companies focus on digital solutions. Companies cannot survive and succeed and perform unless and until companies focus on digital marketing. Companies cannot compete, grow, and succeed and perform unless and until they focus on performance and potential and problems and pace of doing business and processes that they undertake in different ways. So all these processes that they have to follow, they have changed now. So I have to rewrite my book entirely in the COVID context in order to update it, or in order to change the way we do business. Because otherwise, what we have seen, or what I have seen in American context, is many enterprises, they have collapsed. So how do we? So the $1 million question is, how do I ensure that my enterprise or your enterprise is surviving through this difficult phase, or is actually performing through this difficult phase of next 3 years, or next 2 years is a tough time for any enterprise. And this is the need of the hour. How do our organizations learn and leverage the opportunities that might come out, or if there are indirect opportunities, if there are implicit opportunities, how do we actually leverage this opportunity? How do we capitalize this opportunity? Because if you fail to capitalize opportunities in business, you will fail in business and you cannot succeed in business. And I'm going to look at some synergies and strategies in the context of new business environment. Survival versus success. A firm increases its likelihood of survival when it grows and achieves competitiveness. Okay, achieving competitiveness is important, and every company needs to understand the dynamic business environment and the competitive business environment. And companies will survive only if it grows and achieves competitiveness. If it doesn't grow, if it remains as a very tiny enterprise, if it remains as a micro enterprise, if it remains as a small enterprise, then global economy will shrink, and millions file for unemployment benefits in the US. This is a reality. Thousands of people have been laid off across the countries. Labor-intensive industries face more challenges. And exports and imports are badly hit. Exports and imports are badly hit, as you know, because many countries, those who were depending or relying upon income from exports, they got hit. So last 2 years, export growth has declined in almost everywhere in the world. I do have a book on export-import management, so export-import management is very close to my heart and my life. So even some of the export sectors, like agricultural sector, also got hit because of COVID-19. Because of COVID-19, all the international transactions, international movement of people. Like I used to travel to India from America every 6 months, but I couldn't travel for 2 years because of COVID-19. I could not even travel to India when my father passed away. I'm originally from India, so So a lot of people couldn't attend funerals of their father, mother, and they couldn't attend many family functions and so many things like that because of COVID-19. So a lot of costs, a lot of unknown costs, which we cannot quantify. And some of them, those who live in their own countries also, they also have had their own problems, many problems. PP kit and that kit and so many things, and many type of mask and people, police fining people, those who don't wear mask, all kind of Dravidian rules and all kind of strict rules. Everything made people's life difficult. So COVID cases, if you look at the numbers, the maximum cases were in US and second India, third Brazil, and COVID death wise, US, Brazil, and India. Statistics wise, GDP or national income growth has picked up this year. However, last year, almost all countries witnessed negative growth. India had -7 growth rate, US had -5.6 growth rate, UK had -9 growth rate. That means UK were badly hit compared to US and India, if you analyze in terms of the economic growth. COVID-19 has made companies search for opportunities necessary in order to survive. In order to survive, companies will have to search for opportunities. There has been setback on transaction taking place during last 20 years. So this is a reality. Companies will have to search for opportunities. Small and medium companies face survival threats and challenges because of COVID-19. Many SMEs have run short of cash or capital. Some of them shut down their business operations in different countries. Challenges for marketers. These are all realities, challenges for marketers. Small companies, they are running short of cash or capital. Some of them shut down their business operations in different countries. It's all realities. And yeah, many companies have to rethink their strategies to survive and succeed in the post-pandemic time. Post-pandemic time will be different compared to the pre-pandemic time. And it is not going to be the same rules. It is not going to be the same permutations and combinations that we need to succeed in the post-pandemic time. And I do have a framework which I would like to present today as part of my speech, which might help you people and which might help the industry practitioners to manage this crisis time and to manage the businesses in the post-pandemic era. And this is named as 7P constructs and 7P framework. And this is defined in terms of performance with an equation. So I would present that, and before that, I have one or two more slides. And social distancing and impact. Social distancing has resulted into more online transactions. Many of us, especially those who are young, they tend to buy everything on online platforms like Amazon, eBay, and so on, even Alibaba. And those who are young, they even use supermarket websites to buy everything rather than going to the supermarket or rather than going to the retail stores. So everything delivered to your home these days, even food delivery applications. Last time I was in India, I used food delivery applications in India, and food was delivered by some company through some restaurants. So everything can be delivered at your doorstep these days, like a postman comes and delivers letters. Good old days postman used to come, right? And then email replaced the postman. The same way, we all used to go to shops to buy. Now with the COVID-19, online shopping, people are used to online shopping, online behavior, online consumer behavior. All those have replaced the traditional brick and mortar business. This is a reality, and it has become a reality. Travel and tourism sector was very badly hit because it's a very sensitive sector. Whenever such kind of shocks occur, whenever a war occurs, whenever such kind of pandemic occurs, and allied industries like monuments, restaurants in tourist locations, restaurants in big cities, they all lost their business. I tell you an example at my place. I live in a town next to the beach locations, and I also have a position in the UK. So I've been managing 2 jobs for last 6 months, and because of COVID-19, it was a kind of blessing also, because you can manage everything by online. And but in case if there is no COVID, if there was no COVID, you cannot have two types of work in 2 different countries, because you have to travel. So of course I used to travel before to different countries as a visiting professor, but now you can do such kind of things online. People are used to do such kind of things online these days, and everything is easy these days. Everything is convenient to do these days. COVID-19 has brought about such opportunities for individuals and some organizations also. So now my example that I'm going to tell you is that there is a cafe called Hard Rock Cafe. Hard Rock Cafe is a very famous American restaurant cum bar, because in America or Western countries or even Europe, cafe means restaurant and bar. Bar, so in India there are not many bars, but in Western countries every restaurant also works as a bar. So because you get alcohol, not pure alcohol in the form of beer, wine, whiskey, all those kind of things. That means they are bar. So Hard Rock Cafe is a cafe cum bar cum restaurant, and this is a very, very, very popular cafe or bar in the minds of young people. Those who are in 20s, those who are in 30s, this is very, very popular. Those who are 18 plus is very popular. And this Hard Rock Cafe, in my town, so I mean, very like it's about 300 meters from my apartment and where I live, and this Hard Rock Cafe was closed for about 2-3 months because of lockdown, and after lockdown they opened. But because of social distancing and 50% operation capacity and all those kind of things, this Hard Rock Cafe didn't get enough customers for about 6 to 9 months. Otherwise, they used to be very popular. Otherwise, hundreds of people used to go there. Hundreds of people used to go there for dinner, drinks, and party, and all those kind of things. Many college boys and girls will go there and will enjoy their party with their classmates, with their friends. All this was a very popular destination, very hot spot. And but even such a very famous, popular cafe cum restaurant cum bar couldn't survive the pandemic time. And this was just outside one of the famous hotel, Marriott Hotel, and it was just opposite. And this Hard Rock Cafe had to close down their business, and they simply shut down their business. They are permanently shut down. So what I'm trying to say is that even such famous and popular, iconic brand, restaurant cum bar, couldn't survive through the pandemic, because if you do not make enough profit for a year, you cannot survive. You can survive if you do not make enough profit for 3 months or 6 months. But for a whole year, you cannot survive. It is difficult. It is challenging. Exclusive distribution is that companies need to think about intensive selective distribution channel strategy. Customers would not prefer to pay for premium brands as part of saving strategy. Brand managers will have tough time for at least 1 more year. Organizations relying upon income from advertisement will have tough time, because majority of the companies are not spending money for advertisements. Yeah, this is the reality. Many companies are not spending their money for advertising these days, because when companies are facing uncertainty, when they are not sure about what will be their future, whether they will close down their business or whether they will survive or succeed. They will not spend their money for advertisement. It is like people will not buy luxury items, prestigious items or premium brands when there is uncertainty in their life about their financial security. So this is the same situation here. Artificial intelligence will get more importance. Robots, hourly wage system will get more importance. World will be divided into two diplomatic teams under China and US. India will be with the US and Pakistan will be with China. There are thousands of Pakistani students doing PhD in China. So there's a diplomatic collaboration between China and Pakistan. So if you actually look at all these kind of things, it's a very difficult world. Like we have seen now in Ukraine and Russia, it's a very difficult world. NATO, Ukraine, all these stories, because politicians make the life of normal civilians very difficult everywhere in every country. So Russian president is also doing very similar thing. So he will get some support of patriotic people in Russia, so he can survive as president of their country for many years if they do this way. And this is what many rulers do it, and so that they can become prime minister and president forever. So with some support from patriotic people. So this is a bad thing for the economy. This is a bad thing for countries and businesses, because they all suffer if there is no peace. If there is because there are already problems like COVID which are unexpected, then if politicians also create more problems, the life becomes and business becomes worst. So as I mentioned, hotels, restaurants, airlines, and tourist location-based small businesses ran out of business. Movie theaters face challenge. Some education institutions also face challenge because of social distancing. Yeah, I would like to give you one more example. I know a Chinese restaurant in my town. This is established by a Chinese lady who migrated to America as a Chinese cook long back. Originally, she came to America to work as a cook in a Chinese restaurant. She worked as a cook for about 10 years. And after working as a cook for about 10 years, she had more dreams and ambitions. She wanted to make more money. She thought maybe she should start her restaurant. Then she resigned her cook job. She established a restaurant, Chinese restaurant. And initially it was just one. Then she made some money. Then she thought about expanding it. She opened 3 more branches, but she did not own the property. She had leased the property. She had rented the property, and commercial property rent was very high. One restaurant commercial property rent was something like $3,000. So she had to pay 3,000 multiplied by 4, $12,000 every month as rent. And she was managing it because she had customers. But COVID-19 pandemic resulted into lockdown and then social distancing, operating with half capacity. Many people, customers, were reluctant to go to restaurant because they were scared to eat out, because governments told us if you eat out, you will get COVID. So many people cooked at home instead of eating out. So she did not get enough customers. She could not pay rent to the landlord, and landlord terminated her lease agreement, rent agreement. So she lost property to run restaurant, and she decided to close down her business. So she lost everything that way. And very similar situation, many hotels have terminated their employees, and because hotels were not getting business. And academic institutions, some of them, they freeze permanent faculty recruitment because they also face uncertainty. So 7P framework for writing a business plan. This is what I would like to present today. Performance. Yeah, so here on the right-hand side, I have written performance. Performance is a function of other P's. This is a framework, and you need to rewrite your business plan to survive and succeed in the pandemic time, post-pandemic time. Performance is a function of potential, path, process, pace, pattern, and problems. And you will have to see performance as a function of all other P's. Performance is on the left-hand side, and other P's are on the right-hand side. Right-hand side, P's include potential, path, process, pace, pattern, and problems. And what is performance? Performance is the outcome of all other P's. So if you have to perform well, you have to look at, analyze your potential in different market and choose the best market to do your business. And path, you have to analyze your growth path, which include your sources of funds. How do we actually grow? If you have to grow your business, you need funds. How do you mobilize funds? How do you source funds? This is important. Whether you can source funds from banks, venture capital, capital market, what is the best for you? Process and pace. Process of doing business. Pace of doing business. Processes to follow, for example, collaboration, strategic alliances, pace of doing business. And pace means speed at which you can do business. Pattern, product portfolio, destination portfolio. Problems, anticipated problem and unanticipated problems. So COVID-19 is an unanticipated problem, unexpected problem. Ukraine-Russia war is an expected problem because I was expecting it. So such problems need to be foreseen and taken into account in your business when you write your business plan. Or if you're writing your marketing plan also, you can take into account. Whether you write business plan or marketing plan, you should take into account such kind of situation. For example, what will be your pattern of doing business once we venture into business? Pattern include product portfolio, product line. For example, a mask making company, instead of making only plain white mask, they make mask with the different colors, or they make mask with some designs in addition to white mask. They might make more money because if they make mask with some design and some flowers, sometimes ladies like that kind of mask and they will buy such mask. Sometimes college boys and girls would like to have beautiful mask rather than having a very black color mask. So product lines are very important. You know, like iPhone launching new product every year, laptops companies making and launching new products every year, camera companies launching new products every year, pattern, and your destination portfolio. Such kind of things are important. Such kind of things need to be planned in advance. Such kind of things should be part of the business plan in order to survive and succeed in the post-pandemic time. And pace of doing business is also important. You have to be fast mover. You have to be fast mover. Uber was a fast mover. Microsoft was a fast mover. So they created global companies, multinational enterprises, because they had two advantages: fast mover and first mover. If you can combine, if you can blend the ideas of first plus fast, you will be the winner. But if you cannot be first mover, if you are neither first mover nor fast mover, you will have problems to do your business. Yeah, so with this, since I have time constraint and I have seen that you have a lot of other speakers, I would like to wind up my speech, and I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me. So I would like to repeat these 6 P's are potential, path, process, pace, pattern, and problems that you need to analyze in order to arrive at performance. And such performance is very important. And this 7P model can be used for domestic expansion, can be used for international expansion, and it is useful for companies to do business in the era of pandemic and in the era of globalization. And in case if you have any question, you can email me. Also, my email is profjust@gmail.com, and my website, an article which I have published with the 7P framework, is available to download on my website, drjustinpaul.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We're extremely, extremely thankful to you for sharing your wisdom and showering evident information on the context of the conference. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we are really, really privileged to have you, and in honor of that, we have planted a tree in your name in our premises. So I request our director, sir, to please hand over this as just appreciation and a token of love from our organization.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So this is we at Kitco School of Management. Thank Professor Dr. Justin Paul for your valuable contribution. And as a recognition, we have contributed towards planting a tree at our premises in your honor. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I like your design.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Now I would request our director, sir, Professor S.K. Mahapatra, sir, to share a few words and also declare the main conference, that is the Best Paper Award. But before that, let me share that we had received around 113 abstracts, out of which the 2 were from foreign universities. From North India, there were around 16. South of India, there were 18 papers. From East side, 63, and from West side, 14. And registrations in terms of KIT versus other, we found more than 77 papers coming from other universities, 2 from foreign universities, and 34 from the universities within our institution. After going through a blind review process, we had selected around 77 final papers, and out of that, 45 papers were selected for presentation. And after having parallelly 5
conference to just
request our director, sir, to declare the best paper.
Thank you, Sikta. I will not take much time. There are 3 awards. The paper that earns the 3rd prize is by Dr. Saroj Kumar Rautrai and Dr. Sabat Kumar Digal, which was presented by Dr. Saroj Kumar Rautrai, and its impact of composition of board and audit committee on firm's performance.
We can have a virtual clap.
Yeah, so this is your award. And the runner-up is Dr. Saroj Kumar Sahu and Ritika Gupta. The paper was modeling the dimensions of an effective supervisor-subordinate relationship using ISM mechanism. And the first prize goes to Dr. Rachna Jaiswal. And the paper was predicting compensation of IT sector employees, a machine learning approach. So congratulations to all the winners of the paper presentation competition. But as I always say, effort is worth 1,000 awards. So those of you who have made effort to write a paper, research paper, and present it at this conference, you are all equal worthy winners. And I would like to urge upon each one of you to continue writing, to continue researching, and someday much greater awards than what we are presenting today will come your way. Thank you very much. So over to you, Sikta.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I request our Dean, sir, Professor Ashwin Mishra, to share a few words. Sir, please.
About the research papers which won the award, I want to share with all the participants that there were five renowned researchers who had gone through quite a couple of papers. And I want to share with all of you that both the first and second prize was complete unanimity between all the 5 evaluators. In fact, the marks given were also same. So which basically shows that, the quality of papers in terms of its construction, its content, and also its methodology was of a very high order. And as Professor Mahapatra, our director, mentioned, that all of you must make more efforts next time. And I'm sure we will come out with such wonderful international conferences. I must personally thank all the invited guests. In fact, I must tell you that Justin Paul, who must have woken up, also woke all of us with a wonderful lecture. His 6 P's were really wonderful. And last but not the least, let me thank Professor Bibikar and Professor Sikta Singh for a wonderful conference they have showcased. I'm sure the next year when we hold the conference, this will not be in a virtual mode. And, the first conference, which was steered by Professor Subuddhi sir, I must say that both the openers, he as an opener and Professor Bajavallakar and Sikta as 1 down and 2 down batsmen, have really proved that KIT School of Management has the best of intellectual ability. So all the best, and thank all the participants, all the faculty members, all the paper presenters for the wonderful effort that they have put in. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. I would request Professor Subuddhi sir. Sir, please. Professor Subuddhi sir is a senior professor in our school in the area of decision science, and he was convener of our first ever conference. Sir, please, if you can share a few words.
Good afternoon, learned colleagues and our invited guests. Professor Tapas, you are there? Tapas, I had heard many things about you, but I heard you directly today. Convey my hello to Mamta, and with permission of Sikta ma'am, Raju sir, maybe you can send 2 mementos for Tapas and his better half Mamta. I thank our director, our dean, for constantly encouraging us and supporting us to conduct within short span of time 2 big, meaningful, effective, value-adding research conferences, and we sincerely hope together we can make it happen in a better way. Thanks. Over to Sikta. Thanks for asking me to say so.
Thank you, sir. So we have approached the tail end of this program of the International Conference on Management Research 2022, and it certainly won't do justice without the mention of some dignified names who have covered an extra mile to make this program a grand success. I would like to acknowledge our esteemed keynote speakers, Professor Tapas Mishra sir and Professor Justin Paul sir, for sparing their valuable time. I know how they busy are, and they have shared their research output as well as for sharing their wisdom and showering evident information, which is an indication and it paves a path for influencing research. My heartfelt gratitude to all our organizing committee, those who have bestowed upon us this precious opportunity to become a part of this grand event, though they are not present now. I would like to thank Professor Sujit Kumar Kar from IBS Hyderabad, Professor Ramakrishnan Padi from IIM Sambalpur, Professor Arindam Banek, a very distinguished professor from IMI Delhi, Professor Mamta Padi ma'am. Professor Mamta Padi ma'am is the reader in economics and finance and head of the AFEG at Rotherham University. Ma'am had been really, really great and kind to help us in terms of taking up the conference ahead. Thank you so much, ma'am. Above and beyond, I extend an extreme honor of obligation to the visionary man, Mr. Dr. Achyuta Samanta sir, whose motivational appeal has acted as a pearl perspective for building up this university. I would also like to thank our Vice Chancellor ma'am, Professor Sashmita Samanta ma'am, for her support and encouragement in terms of taking our program ahead. Furthermore, I express a special recognition to all our paper contributors, those who have come from all over India and world, for showcasing their research, their enthusiastic participation in the various technical sessions, and persistent patience throughout the event. And that has actually led us to this beautiful conclusion. Let's have a big round of applause for all the lovely people around for their cooperation and support to come up with the bright ideas and promising outcome of this program. I would also like to thank our organizing committee from our university, Professor Ashok sir, who is a senior professor in the area of strategy and management, Professor Arun Sobuddhi sir, Professor Sumita Mishra, Professor Ipshita Satpathy, Professor Abhishek Kumar, Professor Pradeep Kumar Malik, Professor Shukrant Tripathi, Professor Damodar Jena, Professor K.K. Rai, Professor Manoj Jena, Professor J.R. Hota, Professor Mohibullah, Professor Isha Mishra, Professor Jade Bishwas, Professor Shugata Tripathi, and Professor Surya Mishra for their extended support. I would like to thank all our technical chairs for helping us, and really it was within a short time to complete this evaluation was a big challenging task. I would like to thank my convener, Professor Braja sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your help. Thank you so much, sir, for your support, which has led us for a beautiful conclusion. I would also like to thank Samavesh sir, the man behind the program, who is always there to help us. Prusti sir, Subratam Kandi, Akhila bhai, Kalu bhai, and my dear students. I would like to mention a few because without them, it is really, really impracticable to carry out such an event. Foremost, Sayantan Shet, he is an MBA 2 student placed in Deloitte. Sayantan, thank you so much for all your support and help. Thank you, our anchors, Ishan and Varanyam, for beautifully connecting and bridging the gap between the various events, and all the students of Finance Exchequer and Sanskriti. Thank you so much for having and sparing your time with all of us. We have a cultural program. I would also request all of you to please remain over the virtual screen and enjoy a very, very well thought of cultural program sketched out by our students of KIT School of Management. With that, we are going to end this program with the national anthem. Thank you again.
भाग्य विधाता शुभाशिष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
So I would request everyone to be over here. We'll start our cultural program at 6 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes, an important announcement. All the participants will be receiving their certificate of appreciation for presenting in the conference. Give us a few days. We will be shortly dispatching all those certificates. Thank you.
Sector, Sector, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear you. Good evening, everyone. So welcome you all again to this cultural program. Over to you, Prerna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. After having such a constructive and qualitative session and educative session on the topic, let's move on with the cultural part. I, Prerna Patra, welcome you all on behalf of Team Sanskriti, which is the cultural club of KSOM, to charm us all with very qualitative and very beautiful and creative events which Sanskriti has planned for you all. To begin with, we would like to present a face painting which has been prepared by me on the very topic, how chaos and complexity has driven the human workforce almost crazy, not only in the work sector, but also in the household sector. But humans, being rational human beings, strive their best out of irrationality. Even though sometimes we face irrational situations, we combine our rational thinking and come out with the best possible solution. Without wasting much of our time, let us see the face painting. Can we have the video, please?
I'll show you how chaos and complexity has worsened the situation. Hello everyone, I'm Prerna Patra and today I'll show you how chaos and complexity has worsened the situation of work life and as well as the household sector. To begin with, let me give an example of a lady who sits in front of a laptop day and night but faces multiple issues like Wi-Fi issues, or the Zoom might not work, or the Google Meet might stop responding. So much so that she gets so frustrated. But on the other hand, she also has an entire household to manage. She has the kids to look after, she has to cook the food, and she has to manage the entire household. So, this is how we can see that chaos and complexity affects the human race in every sector, not only the corporate sector but also the household sector. But since humans are rational human beings, they learn to manage both household as well as the corporate even in a pandemic. So let us not lose hopes and face the challenges of chaos and complexity in the workforce as well as in the household sector with utmost bravery and courage. With that, I, Prerna Patra, thank you all for watching this video.
Thank you. I hope you liked it. Now, proceeding with another event, which is a beautiful song by late Lata Mangeshkar ji. And one of our students, Mohammad Anis, is going to sing the remodified version of that. As we all know, this cultural session is also a tribute to the legends like Lata Mangeshkar ji and Bappi Da. So here's Mohammad Anis with a beautiful melodious piece. Can we have the song, please?
एक प्यार का नगमा है, मौजों की रवानी है, जिंदगी और कुछ भी नहीं, तेरी मेरी कहानी है। एक प्यार का नगमा है, मौजों की रवानी है, जिंदगी और कुछ भी नहीं, तेरी मेरी कहानी है। एहसान तेरा होगा मुझ पर, दिल चाहता है जो कहने दो मुझे, तुमसे मोहब्बत हो गई है मुझे, पलकों की छाँव में रहने दो। एहसान तेरा होगा मुझ पर, लुका छुपी बहुत हुई, सामने आ जाना। कहाँ कहाँ ढूंढा तुझे, थक गई है अब तेरी माँ। हो आजा सांझ हुई, मुझे तेरी फिक्र धुंध ना गई, देख मेरी नजर आ जाना। हो आजा सांझ हुई, मुझे तेरी फिक्र धुंध ना गई, देख मेरी नजर आ जाना।
Thank you so much, Anis, for charming us all with such a beautiful song. You almost took us back to Lataji's era. Now, as we all know, KSOM is infested with talents, and bringing up with one such unique talent is Nishin Amrita Mohanty from MBA2 with a beautiful and charming dance. Can we have the dance, please?
मिट जाते हैं सबके निशान, बस एक वो मिटता नहीं। हाय पे डाल तू नजर हालातों से हार कर कहाँ चला रे हाथ की लकीर को उड़ता मरोड़ता है हौसला रे तो खुद तेरे ख्वाबों के रंग में तू अपनी जहां को भी रंग दे कि चलता हूँ मैं तेरे संग में वो शाम भी तो क्या जब होगा अंधेरा तब पाएगा दर मेरा उस दर पे फिर होगी तेरी सुबह तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा
Thank you so much, Nishi. You indeed are a very versatile dancer. Moving on with another melodious piece by Swam from BBA 3. Can we have the song? And she also is giving a tribute to Lataji.
आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार के काबिल मुझे दिल की ये धड़कन ठहर जा मिल गई मंजिल मुझे आपकी नजरों ने समझा जी हमें मंजूर है आपका ये फैसला जी हमें मंजूर है आपका ये फैसला कह रही है हर नजर बंदा परवर शुक्रिया तू जहाँ की आज खुशियाँ हो गई हासिल मुझे आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार के काबिल मुझे आपकी नजरों ने समझा आपकी मंजिल हूँ मैं मेरी मंजिल आप है आपकी मंजिल हूँ मैं मेरी मंजिल आप है क्यों मैं तूफान से डरूं मेरा साहिल आप है कोई तूफानों से कहते मिल गया साहिल मुझे दिल की ये धड़कन ठहर जा मिल गई मंजिल मुझे आपके नजरों ने समझा
Thank you so much, Swayam. That indeed was a beautiful, unique masterpiece by Lataji and very well sung by you. Moving ahead with the Students Club, which has come up with a very beautiful themic video on this very theme, that is how chaos and complexity has driven the workforce as well as the household sector into a very tormenting phase. Without wasting much of a time, let us have the video.
Life is full of ambiguity. One day we might face our best, but some other day we may have the worst day. Same applies to the corporate sector. Someday your boss might yell at you, but the same boss will appreciate you some other day. So let us see how chaos and complexity has affected the corporate work sector in the pandemic. But as we all know, every dark cloud has a silver lining, and hence this issue can be resolved too.
I'm so lucky. Despite being a village resident, I have managed to get a job in a very amazing company. But little does anyone realize the real struggle behind it. So let's see the real scenario behind it. Despite being educated, well qualified, I'm unable to seek the job. What can I do now? Well, let me search on my phone. I can get through some websites right now. Oh no, there is no network connectivity here. Neither any internet connections. How will I look for the jobs right now? Oh God, I have no clue where to search and communicate for getting employed. I think there's no option left. For now, I need to find some job out here to feed my family. Okay, let's see what happens.
Okay, well, I don't have any solution to the problem which this region is facing, but I have another solution to the problem of unemployment. What do you say?
We do have a company that is giving opportunity to the postgraduate freshers. So you can apply over there.
Really? I would be so happy to know about
Yeah,
that.
definitely you should.
I am going to text you the number. You can like get it.
Okay.
Hello. So let's come to the point now. How far did you proceed with your work?
Ma'am, it's halfway through.
What? I need it by tonight itself. Otherwise you are fired. Remember it. Ma'am, may I come in?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
So, what's the progress?
Ma'am, it's halfway through.
What? The project is halfway through.
Ma'am, I will make it done by tonight.
By tonight. Otherwise, I will appoint a new HR. Is that clear?
Sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Off.
Thank you. You report me at the office in 2 days.
Hey! Yes? You're from a village, right?
Yes.
Can you speak English? Oh, you must only understand Hindi, no? Poor thing.
Hello dear, can you please send some money by tomorrow? Your sister's fee is pending.
Yes, Mama. I will send it by the end of this month. Okay.
Hey! Yes? Are you still here?
Yes, I have a lot to complete.
You know, I have been here for 6 years and I always finish my work in time. I think you should get some tips from me. Maybe you will need it later? Okay, please enjoy.
Oh God, how will I manage so much at once? I guess I'm good for nothing. I can never stay up to anyone's expectation, neither boss nor family.
What happened, dear?
I don't think anybody understands how stressful it is to explain what's going on inside your head when you do not even understand it yourself.
Dear, the struggle is a part of our life. Do not give up on yourself. Hello, am I speaking to the mental wellness clinic? I need a mental wellness counseling for my employees.
Yes, ma'am, we will be glad to help.
Okay, thank you.
Dear, one small crack doesn't mean that you are broken. It's just that you are put to a test and you didn't fall apart in this.
Mudra,
Yes.
are you leaving? Is your work done?
Yes, I have completed it.
Okay, send me the file in 10 minutes.
Oh no, what can I do now? In just 10 minutes, so impossible.
Idea. I think that villager was working on the same project. Let me ask her once. Hey, yes? Did you complete the work that we are assigned to? No, I guess you must have submitted the reports. Well, you are the best employee of this organization. Well, I think urban people with all the supreme facilities available can finish the walk in just 10 minutes. Pause. Well, the potential of an employee is judged by his or her work, not by the place he or she belongs to. Now don't feel bad. Take this and you can submit it to your HR.
Fine.
Have you completed the work which was assigned to you?
Yes, ma'am. Here is the file. You can have a check on it.
Okay. Great. You have done a good job.
Thank you.
You can leave. Ma'am, may I come in?
Yes.
Ma'am, here is the file you asked for. The work is done.
Excellent. Thank God we did this. I thought it was impossible, but in such a short span of time we managed to do this. Who did this, by the way?
Ma'am, remember the new employee we hired? She did it.
Oh, yes, the new one. Okay, that's nice.
Hey, Tishu.
Yes, ma'am.
Well done. The boss is very happy with your performance. The project was very important for our company. And you did it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I am so glad that she could fight back her own battle. She adapted well and came out strong. This was all because she didn't give up.
So, we saw how chaos, complexity, and ambiguity can dampen the workforce during this pandemic. Whatever life gives us, even if it is chaotic, just be strong and act like you are okay. Remember, strong walls shake, but they never collapse.
Thank you so much, team, for such a wonderful video. Indeed, the hard work and resilience of all the students has come out very well in the video. Moving ahead with the next performance of the day is another iconic dance performance by Mahashweta Mishra of MBA 1. She also is giving a tribute to the legends of the legend, Lata Mangeshkar ji. Can we have the dance, please? Little did I know that MBA students can dance, sing, and as well as paint. Moving on with another such artistic performance by Shivani Baru from MBA 1. Shivani, through her painting, will be depicting how chaos and complexity drives out all the corporates in the corporate sector. Can we have the masterpiece, please? Thank you so much, Shivani. The painting says it all. Moving ahead with another melodious song performance by Harsh Katyan, who is giving a tribute to another such legend, Bappi Lahiri. Can we have the song, please? Thank you, Harsh. You indeed gave us a short reminiscence of Bapida and how joyful and lively all his songs and he himself was. Moving ahead with another dance performance on the song sung by Lataji, presented by Ankita Kumari Jana from MBA 1. Can we have the dance, please?
जिया जले जा जले जिया जले जा जले नैनु तले धुआं चले
പുഞ്ചിരി തഞ്ചി കൊഞ്ചിക്കോ മുന്തിരി മുത്തൊളി ചിന്തിക്കോ മഞ്ചണി വർണ്ണ ചുന്ദരി വാവേ തങ്കിണ്ണക്ക തകതിമിയാടും തങ്കനിലാവേ ഹോയ് പുഞ്ചിരി തഞ്ചി കൊഞ്ചിക്കോ മുന്തിരി മുത്തൊളി ചിന്തിക്കോ മഞ്ചണി വർണ്ണ ചുന്ദരി വാവേ തങ്കിണ്ണക്ക തകതിമിയാടും തങ്കനിലാവേ
जिया जले जा जले नैनु तले धुआं चले रात भर धुआं चले जानू ना सकेरी जिया जले जा जले नैनु तले धुआं चले रात भर धुआं चले जानू ना सकेरी जिया जले चली आई खुल जाए वही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई होठों में ऐसी बात में दबा के चली आई खुल जाए वही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई अरे हाँ बात जिसमें प्यार तो है जहर भी है हाय होठों में ऐसी बात में दबा
Thank you so much, Ankita. We definitely loved all your moves. It was indeed a very energetic dance performance. Let us switch to some song performance now. And we have with us Mudra Mohanty from MBA 1 to charm us all with Lata Mangeshkar's unique pieces once again. Can we have the video, please?
लग जा गले कि फिर हंसी रात हो ना हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो ना हो, लग जा गले हमको मिली है आज ये घड़ियां नसीब से, जी भर के देख लीजिए हमको करीब से, फिर आपके नसीब में ये बात हो ना हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो ना हो, लग जा गले
Thank you so much, Mudra. You have the voice of a nightingale. Moving ahead with another such performance by Nikita Tiwari, who would again charm us all with Lata Ji's beautiful and wonderful masterpieces. Can we have the song, please?
तुम थे की थी कोई उजली किरण, तुम थे या कोई कली मुस्काई थी, तुम थे या सपनों का था सावन, तुम थे या खुशियों की घटा छाई थी, तुम थे कि था कोई फूल खिला, तुम थे या मिला था मुझे नया जहां, दो पर रुका ख्वाबों का कारवां और फिर चल दिए तुम कहाँ हम कहाँ, दो पल की थी दो दिलों की दास्तां और फिर चल दिए तुम कहाँ हम कहाँ, हमको हमी से चुरा लो, दिल में कहीं तुम छुपा लो, हमको हमी से चुरा लो, दिल में कहीं तुम छुपा लो, हम अकेले खो न जाए, दूर तुमसे हो न जाए, पास आओ गले से लगा लो, पास आओ गले से लगा लो.
Thank you so much, Nikita. I must say KSOM is full with singers and we saved the best for the last. So here's the best singer which we have amongst all of us, that is Anisa Datta from BBA final year, Here with us, a beautiful and charming song performance by Bappi Lahiri. Can we have the song, please? Thank you so much, Anisa. I could feel myself grooving into the tunes of this song, one of my personal favorite songs. With this, we have last but not the least performance of the day, a dance performance which is almost a showstopper of the day, again by Nishin Amrita Mohanty. Can we have the beautiful dance by this beautiful lady, please? Thank you so much, Nishi. With this, we have come to the end of this cultural event. I would now like to invite the coordinator of our cultural club, Nishi Namrata Mohanty, to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Nishi.
Thank you, Prerna. Thank you for hosting such a smooth event. And I thank everyone who gave their time today. And I hope that you all enjoyed the range of performances that Sanskriti Club had prepared for you all. Thank you for giving us your time. And we wish you a very good night. Thank you. Thank you, Shikta ma'am. Thank you all the faculty members and directors for joining us.
Thank you, Nishi. Over to you, ma'am.
So I would request Rajesh sir. So officially, we can close the program. Director sir, if he is available.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Great job, and Team Sanskriti has done a great job. Really enjoyable. I wish we could have seen the performances live and in our auditorium. But anyway, hopefully we'll see it next year. At the same time, I hope few of you at least attended the talks by senior professors from different parts of the world, and hope that also helped you. Great job. And yes, ma'am, we can, I think, officially close this. I think few of the presenters are there. Rachna is there, I think. Congratulations, Rachna Jaiswal, doctor. Congratulations on your winning of the award. And officially, we can close this meeting. SK Mahapatra sir is not there. Dean sir is there? No. I don't see either the director or the dean. I think we can close it.
So thank you so much. Thank you all those paper presentation which has happened. Thank you all the paper presenters. We would love to see you in the next conference. So stay connected. Till then, we'd like to bid adieu. Thank you so much. Thank you.